to 14. Cowboys out in front. Starr begins the count. Takes the snap. He's got the quarterback sneaking easy for the touchdown. And the Green Bay Packers are going to be world champions.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. If you'd like to email the show, you can send a message to PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. If you'd like to text the show, you can send a text message to 865-658-5824. We are live here on Sunday afternoon. Thought we'd just get on here and talk a little ball, kind of keep it simple. Jacob, I don't know if you've seen, I did a Chalk Talk segment earlier today, and that's going to go out in podcast form. We got to do a little bit of editing. We'll get that out, I'd say, around Tuesday. But it was fun breaking down Jayden Reed. But I'm glad you could hop back on here and join me, man, because what we decided to do today is just kind of leave it somewhat open-ended and get on here and talk a little bit about team building, right? And as you guys know, Twitter is absolutely blowing up right now with the young guns, as I call them, up there on the lake in Door County. Just hanging out and team building is really, really cool. But we got Jacob on here from the Packernet Fantasy Podcast. Jacob, man, how you doing today, buddy?
I am doing great. I got up early this morning, got to work, and then remembered, like, hey, I'm the boss. I can leave work when I want to, so I can go hang out with Clayton today. Again, like 85 degrees in Wisconsin. I'm excited, man, just to be able to get away from work. It is so beautiful. The last week in Wisconsin has been literally no clouds in the sky, 75 to 85 degrees every day. It has been beautiful. So I know that much like Jordan Love, and I think it was DeGuara, Christian Watson, a few of the other guys, I'd love to be out on a boat right now. But even better, I get to be here talking to you, man.
Yeah, dude, Door County's beautiful. And for those of you who don't know, you're listening on the pod, basically a bunch of the guys got together here in some downtime, in between OTAs and actually went up to Door County. It looks like A.J. Dillon's hosting everyone, which kudos to A.J. Dillon for showing that leadership. He and his wife getting the gang together. What we're going to do is share the screen here, Jacob, and just show some of these images real quick. And for those of you listening on the pod, one of my favorite follows, I just want to give a shout out to Emily. Emily Mack on Twitter. It's at EMRACHELZ. So it's at MRachelZ. And phenomenal follow. Awesome Packer fan. If you guys are tired of all the division and everyone arguing and bickering back and forth, go give Emily a follow, because you cannot go through her timeline and not come away in a better mood. Dude, she's posting constant pictures of just awesome food and stuff like this when it comes to the Packers. The first tweet here, though, this is what we were talking about offline, Jacob. Said, this one makes me laugh because Josiah missed the timing memo and AJ lost his neck. Laughing emoji. I, for one, or for many, look forward to this young team that gels and gets through a fresh new start, the good and tough together. And it's a picture for those of you on the pod. It's basically A.J. Dillon, Jordan Love, and Josiah DeGuara jumping off the back of a boat into the lake up there in Door County. Man, it's refreshing, Jacob, to see young guys kind of come together and building this team chemistry. And I, as a Packer fan, I've got to experience it through three quarterbacks. And every time there's a fresh start, there's this new energy. When Brett left, and obviously went to the Jets, ironically, right? Those last 3 or 4 years that he was on the team, he was off to himself with the family. You never seen him out with the boys, right? And when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, when Aaron Rodgers stepped into that starting role, he was hosting Bible studies at his house. They were at Rascal Flatts concerts together, had all the guys out with them. That's how they began to gel. They created that unity, him, Jordy Nelson, Clay Matthews, B.J. Raji, on and on and on. And there's just this energy around, hey, look, it's us against the world. And now you see, obviously, Aaron, as he got older, he started doing just like Brett, didn't hang out with the young guys much. It's something that's pretty common across the league. And now, boom, Jordan Love is right here in with the crew, man. They're building their own team. They're building their own culture, and it's absolutely huge. I know you were excited about some of these picks, man. What do you think about the team just kind of going up to Door County and doing some team building?
Yeah, man, it's just fun to see that outside of football, these guys really do enjoy each other's time and enjoy each other's company. I mean, I don't know about you, Clayton, but I would never go on a what I'm sure is like a weekend getaway with anybody that I don't like. You know what I mean? Maybe if you're there and you're dragged along with your girl and she pulls you in and you're one of those, but no, what it looks like is AJ Dillon, like you said, has orchestrated this. And I mean, there's some great stuff we're going to go through. It looks like they're doing everything from obviously, you know, having some adult Coca-Colas, maybe, you know, having some fun. We have some photos. Yeah. So Simone Biles is there. They already got her, you know, with Mr. Owens, and doing some racing. We'll have a video of that. It's just great to see them enjoying life. But at the same time, it's cool because we saw all these guys at the OTAs just a little bit ago. So they're there putting in the work. And then we also get to see them having the fun. Like that's, you know, life is about balance, right? So you got to have a give and take. And I really like that. Like you said, this picture here where you're showing Mr. Jordan Love just having a good time, boat full of people, some friends. The Bears Twitter melted down today. They saw that, man. They started comparing. I saw a lot of the tweets were he's not as muscular as Justin Fields, and
hold on, I gotta
what's he
stop you.
got to celebrate?
Somebody said that Justin Fields has more abs than he does wins in the National Football League.
Hey, yeah,
he's got a 3-pack. There you go.
He's me myself. I got a keg, but whatever.
Absolutely.
It's all good. No, I love to see it. I mean, and that's the kind of mentality, like you said. We got a really young team, and it's just great to see them gelling together. Because I remember, Clayton, you said you played baseball. I played football, and the best part about having a team is that you would do stuff outside of practice because you grew as a family in goal. You know, you had a common purpose. It's crazy when you get a group of men together that have a common goal that you can get a lot of stuff done, man. And you end up growing together and you create bonds. I mean, I still talk to almost every single one of the people that I played football with, you know what I'm saying? And in one way or another. And I think that it's just amazing to see them. They're that young. They're that talented. They've got all the money in the world. And it's still just, you can be as happy as you could ever be with a red Solo cup on a boat. We can all agree to that and kind of.
Absolutely. You know? And I'm sure there's water in those red Solo cups. So we're good.
Yeah.
All that is
Gatorade,
water.
maybe.
Maybe some Gatorade. There you go.
Maybe some Gatorade.
Sugar-free, too, at that. Now, I'll give you a quote from Vince Lombardi. Some people are going, oh, this doesn't matter. None of this, you know, whatever. Dude, there's something special that happens when nobody cares what you know till they know that you care. And this picture of Jordan Love on the boat with the team, like they're bonding. When they go out there on Sundays, dude, they're going to battle for each other. And this Vince Lombardi quote's one of my favorite quotes. I've actually got it hung right here in the studio. It says, it's essential to understand the battles are primarily won in the hearts of men. Men respond to leadership in a most remarkable way. And once you've won their heart, once you've won his heart, he will follow you anywhere. I'm telling you, man, people don't care what you know till they know that you care. And when you create that bond and you look and it's the fourth quarter and you're down by, 2 or you're down by 5 and nobody wants to go on. It's exactly what Jerry Kramer talked about, getting in that huddle at the Ice Bowl. You know, we opened up with the Ice Bowl intro here. He said that they looked in that huddle and Bart looked around, and Bart actually said this too. Bart Starr said he looked at the eyes of everybody in that huddle. He said, I didn't need to say anything. We knew exactly what we needed to do. All of those times that Vince Lombardi was telling us, dig deeper. All those times that he would, talk about fatigue makes cowards of us all those things, they had been through the most strenuous off-season regimen known to freaking man, especially in pro football. And when you go through that together, you're stronger. You really do. You become one is what happens. And he said he looked into the eyes of his teammates and said, hey, there's nothing we need to say. And Jerry Kramer said it. He said, we dug down deep and we got a little Lombardi out of us because he instilled that into them to the point where they were almost worked to death in training camp, and those bonds were created. And it came from them getting to know each other off the field. You know, everybody talks about the tough Vince Lombardi, right? And the hard ASS, right? The guy that just, he doesn't care about anything but working and winning and this and that. Well, Bart Starr, and I think Cherry, his wife, actually told a story about this, said that Lombardi came to visit him. I remember Bart specifically talking about it. After he had already left and went to Washington, and then he had visited, I think, that earlier that offseason, and he came in to visit with Bart Starr, and he walked in, he said, wow, Bart, your house is beautiful. He was just complimenting him on everything. And Bart said he wasn't there hardly any time. And he told the coach, he said, coach, without you, none of this would have been possible. And he said Lombardi teared up, stood up, and walked out of the house. It meant that much to him, right? And it's time. It's stuff like this in 2023 that matters when you're team building. Another Lombardi quote says, "Once you agree upon the price, and your family must pay for success, it enables you to ignore the minor hurts, the opponent's pressure, and the temporary failures. Nothing else matters but those other 10 guys, those 11 guys in that huddle, right? At any given moment." So I like what Jordan's doing here. I like what A.J. Dillon's doing, taking on that leadership role. And right here, Jacobs, that video you were talking about, man. And there's no sound with this, but those of you on the pod, basically Christian Watson lined up to race Simone Biles right out there on the lake.
He had a false start too,
bro. She got him out of the gate.
She got him out the gate. She's got maybe the 10-yard split on him. The initial.
As you're watching this video, though, dude, boy, watch how quick he catches up, man. And I know she's a little shorty, but look at this, dude.
I don't think she's got quite the leg span as he does.
Yeah. We were talking about scouting here in the off season and how stride length really matters. And a lot of people don't talk about stride length. There you go, dude.
Bro, this is my favorite one. Like you were just talking about, Clayton, when you're getting in that off season, you're bleeding, you're sweating, you're literally going to max out your body together. So like you're being very vulnerable to other men, where that's not a normal thing in life. And the human species, the animal species, males don't show weakness typically in front of other males, and the human species is unique in that factor. And another factor of that is the flip side of when you're all serious and having fun, and it's about, or I should say you're all serious and you're dialed into the professionalism of the sport. And then you get the flip side where you see this side of them where they're being vulnerable because it looks like Christian maybe had a couple too many Gatorades, maybe a couple too many waters, and he's sleepy, right? And Mr. Love and Mr. Dillon like to document this moment with a nice picture, if you guys have ever went on a boat trip with your buddies and maybe somebody had a few too many of those
everybody's
Gatorades, you got to document that, and in the most embarrassing way possible, usually. So I know that the PFP crew has a lot of pictures that if we wanted to, we could make some internet memes for sure.
I guarantee it, dude. I guarantee it. Justin in that mustache, dude. He's passed out several times. That's a fact. But So for those of you on the pod, basically Christian Watson crashed out in a hammock here, and you got Jordan Love, acting like he's taking a nap beside him, and you got A.J. Dillon throwing the deuces, and this is, like I said, Door County said goodnight at Christian Watson once, so they basically tagged him in it. Just hilarious, dude.
Speaking like I said, man, Justin, apparently he sent me a text. He says, "Tell Clayton to let me in. Knock, knock."
Oh, all right. We got a special guest. Look at this. Let me hop over here real quick. It's going to get a little bit wonky here while we're sharing the screen. We're going to turn him up here. We got him on. All right, we're going back to the
Speaking of the mustache itself.
How you doing, man?
Oh, just great, man. Doing the Memorial Day weekend yard work. Got a bunch of the honey-do list stuff done and taking care of the kids, all that good stuff. Sorry I'm late. I won't be able to stick around too long, but I figured I'd hop on and say what's up for a little bit.
No, we're glad you did, man. And we got a little bit of a connection issue, Justin, but it's all good, dude. It's a little bit roboty, but it could be my Tennessee internet trying to push all these pictures and everything through in this stream. I keep upgrading the extension cord I got running down the holler, and it ain't working. So it is what it is. But this next image right here cracked me up. So obviously they said Weekend at Jordan's. They got Christian Watson as Bernie on Weekend at Bernie's, like holding him up. Dude. Worst Photoshop ever. Worst Photoshop ever. Look at A.J. Dillon. What happened to his thighs, bro? What happened to the quad father there?
We should have had Justin do that edit, I think. Maybe would have came out a little better.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm glad you ran with my topic, man. How cool is it to see all them guys hanging out and partying together?
Hey, this is what's hilarious, Justin. So I asked both you and Jacob, hey, what do y'all want to talk about? You both said the same thing.
That's
pretty fun.
Yeah, hey, you know what though?
It's great minds think alike.
It's something we haven't seen in a long time in Green Bay, man. These guys are partying together. They're hanging out together. They're building chemistry. It's something,
absolutely.
It's cool to see it. It honestly surprises me that there's fans that are mad about it.
Justin, you sound like Alvin the Chipmunk took cocaine.
What?
So we might have to cut you off this stream, bro.
Sound like you got a Alvin and the Chipmunks on the old marching powder down there, bro. I
That's
don't know.
what I'm saying.
You're all right, man. We heard what you said, though.
No, it makes
It's
sense.
true, man. We were actually talking while you were offline there that every change into the guard, you kind of had this. You had this with Brett. Those last 4 or 5 years in Green Bay, Brett never spent time with the young guys. He was a family guy. He was off, whatever he was doing. And then, when Aaron took over, I mentioned, he at the time he was very open about, being a Christian, and he would hold Bible studies at his house, and they would be at Rascal Flatts concerts over at the Resch Center, all that stuff, hanging with the guys. And then as he got older, he kind of stepped out of that role. And now you got Jordan Love coming in like this. And it does, man. It injects a level of energy into the team. It does. And you've got that camaraderie. If you guys haven't seen America's Game, the 2010 Green Bay Packers, another prime example of this, just how much little things matter. They had a team, I think they said a team psychologist, I believe is what it was called, kind of like a sports, whatever it is, for mental health and just making sure that everybody is extremely sharp when it comes to their mental edge and not dragging baggage along with them. The game's hard enough from a physical standpoint. And Mike McCarthy said the night before the game, they were in the hotel lobby, and I think it was I can't remember his name. I think his last name was Wilson. Was it CJ Wilson? Does that sound familiar? Big defensive lineman, whoever it was. He had a background in playing piano in church and stuff like that. So he gets on the piano and just starts playing some classic music and stuff. And the whole team started singing together this one song, right? And they said that team doctor walked over to McCarthy, and McCarthy's standing there, big Mike, his arms crossed. And this is Mike telling the story. He said that guy nudged him, hit him on the arm. He said, "You just won the damn Super Bowl." That's what he said to him. And they went out the next day and won the Super Bowl. That stuff matters, man. It does. It really does.
It does.
All right. Well, hey, I was going to be in a hurry anyways, since my my voice is all messed up. Apparently, I'll just go ahead and hop out of here, so you guys don't have to hear me all messed up.
I don't know how you sound 2 times the speed. I don't know how that's even
That's
a glitch.
pretty wild, man.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, all I did
I think
was open up his stream links. So I don't know if I.
Hey, I will say before you go, Justin, though, one thing, think about it in the way that the Packernet Fantasy or the Packernet Podcast Network, we've all gotten to know each other doing, stuff like this. But what really I thought cemented it was when we all got to go meet each other in Lambeau.
Absolutely.
For the Rams game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like that to me solidified a lot of the stuff we're doing. And it's just cool to actually get together, have that camaraderie. And like I said, it's so awesome to see that new breed.
We gotta pick a game for this year too.
Yeah. Well, no, we got to go to the draft for sure. That one's coming.
Let's go to both, baby.
Yeah, let's do it. All right.
Yeah, we need to come up with a game though. We'll get together on that, boys. Justin, thanks for dropping in, man. We appreciate you, buddy. Hey, listen, I know what happened, man. You took a bunch of Yellow Jacket, one of those
gas station pills.
Yeah, Nicole told you that house better be cleaned up before she got home. And you had to do something I think you overcompensated a little bit, bud. So take a nap, man.
Trying to buy it. No, just kidding.
All right, buddy. You take care, buddy. Get out of here before you get us canceled, bro.
Oh man.
All right, so that's Justin from the Packernet Fantasy Podcast. I love that guy. And you hit the nail on the head, Jacob. When we got to meet up at Lambeau, bro, it was a blast. It's funny, the other day, I don't know if you've seen the pod that me and Ryan did together, and we were just we shared the screen and showed Google Earth and kind of laid out the whole Lambeau area, talking about how awesome the draft's going to be. Where you've got all of the surrounding areas, all the bars, everything, the way everything's laid out. And when I came across D2, the D2 Sports Bar, I was like, yeah, there's D2 there. And I seen the awning, and that's the awning that I came out when you said, hey man, I'm here. And I came outside to try to show you where we were at, because that place was just flooded with Packer fans. Yep. And you scream, I'm literally like, where's he at? And I hear you shout from like a half a mile away, hey, Clark! But that tailgate party was awesome, dude. And I mean, you said it, dude. It's that's what it's about, man. No, there was an old Steve Sable quote too with NFL Films, and I shouldn't even try to repeat it because I know I don't know it word for word. But he basically said nothing in life's worth having unless it can be shared within the human spirit. Like if you can't share it with someone else, dude, you can have everything in the world. That's why people hit the lottery, and next thing you know, they take their own life. Everybody.
It's very common.
Yeah.
because they realized that they thought the missing piece, because everybody thinks, which I'm guilty of it. God, if I had $1 million, you know how many problems in my life would be solved.
Mm-hmm.
But the problems that really are deep seated inside of you will never be solved by money. And so the fact when people get that large sum of money thrown on their lap, that realization that holy crap, it that doesn't just fix me. That's the most splash of cold water over a human's face I think that you can, you know, experience. But yeah, dude, I'm super excited just to like we've talked about what we want to do with the Packernet podcast network. I mean, it wasn't even called that up until recently. I mean, you think about how we all got our start with this in very different ways. And obviously I'm not going to compare it to the start of the Green Bay Packers, but it is cool that when you look at things through, you know, obviously in a scaled down version of how things get started, how it can just become an idea. One person just, you know, Ryan takes a shot. I remember when I first started listening to him, dude, like freaking, I'll never stop saying the story where I listened to, what's this stupid guy's name? Bukowski.
Don't you say it. Don't you say it.
Sorry,
it doesn't
buddy.
matter the name.
Never mind. He shall be not be named. And I just remember like, God, this guy sucks. And then I kept looking through a bunch of different podcasts until I found Ryan's because he was a little bit farther down in the search results at that time. And then I was like, wow, this guy puts out a podcast every single day. That's crazy. And then I listened to it and I become a way more involved, engaged, and informed Packer fan. And then when I found, obviously, you joined the network, I started listening to you. It's just really cool that half of the podcasts that I listen to, you know, I listen to a lot of other type of stuff, but as far as the sports podcasts go, pretty much all of my stuff is listening to you, Jake, even JJ. You know, I really love listening to Jake Shavank. I didn't really think about the draft because I wasn't those guys that think about the draft other than when it's draft time. But now after hanging out with Jake a few times on these types of deals, man, that guy knows a lot of information. Coach Hahn, more information. Sam Holman, you know what I'm saying? So it's just cool, man. It's cool to build this and like, it's just great. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is, man. Definitely. We got Tyler in the chat here. Tyler said, hell of an ending to the Indy 500. Tyler, we didn't see it, but he said, but I can't believe people actually got upset about these posts. And, you know, it's what we talked about kind of earlier in this podcast. You're going to find negative people no matter what, man. And it's like, you know, there's still people harping on Aaron Rodgers and what he does, right? Listen, he's the Jets quarterback, dude. I don't care. I don't care what he's doing. There's so much I need to learn about this Green Bay Packers team. I could care less what's going on over there. Now, do I wish him any ill will? Absolutely not, right? But people tune into this podcast to talk about Packers, right? They want to hear Packers talk. They want to hear us make fun of each other. That's why they're here, right? It has nothing to do with, you know, players on other teams, but there's just so much division that gets created. And it's funny because, Jacob, I've seen this all year long. Last year it was, and I don't care what anybody says. They try to say that there's not these two groups. There's these two groups. There's more than two groups, but the main two groups are Aaron Rodgers haters. No matter what he does, it's wrong, and he's the worst person in the world. And you got other people that Aaron Rodgers can do no wrong. And I've been accused of being in both of those groups. You know, I'll take a whole Chalk Talk episode and highlight here, man, we really lost this Detroit game because of Aaron. Yeah. This was on Aaron's shoulders, and he completely dropped the ball. And then the majority of the season, I'm pointing out, hey, it ain't Aaron Rodgers. It's, you know, the fact that this is happening within the offense. You know, the defense is spot on. We're not adjusting in real time. And literally both sides accusing me to be an Aaron Rodgers hater or an Aaron Rodgers pole rider, one of the two. Right. And it's like, it cracks me up, bro. It's like, and again, what it comes down to, like Tyler was mentioning there in the chat, you know, can't believe people actually got upset about these posts. The people that are getting upset about the posts, what they're doing is lashing back out at the Aaron Rodgers haters because during the season, there was a lot of people that were unjustly putting everything on Aaron Rodgers' shoulders. So now it's their turn to put it all on Jordan Love's shoulder. If we don't win, Jordan Love didn't take the offseason serious. He's up there on the lake. And that's so ridiculous. It's like,
well, and they also won't talk about the fact that he also did the offseason meetings where he tried to get multiple receivers and did get certain receivers, and Jones met them, did the offseason stuff. And like I said, we don't have to go into what Rodgers is doing over there, but we just know that what Love is doing now is a difference than what we're used to, and that is enough to be said. I mean, that alone should speak for itself. And I guess I just, you know, and we talked about it before the podcast, you know, if anybody wants to start creating drama and hate, I think I'm, and yourself, I'm not in, I definitely am not an anti-Rodgers person, and I'm definitely not I'll never be a pro-Rodgers. Anybody that's followed me or known me, I've been very critical of Rodgers for the last 3, 4, 5 years plus. But I just think that it's just at this point in Jordan Love's career and this point in the Packers franchise, for you to be so obtuse to even just blind at this point, this is one of those situations where you should have blind faith in your quarterback if you're an actual fan of the Green Bay Packers. And I will go out on a limb, and if that's a bold statement, I don't really care, because there's no reason to hate Jordan Love. There is absolutely no reason. He did not decide any single situation that got him to the point where he's at right now. He had nothing to do with it. Nothing. So if you can't at least give him the benefit of the doubt of rooting for the guy, at least just root for him. You don't have to buy his jersey. You don't have to go and say he's going to be the next, third dynasty quarterback in however many years we've had. That would be amazing though, wouldn't it? If we could get one more and lock up 3 starters over the last 40 years and just make the NFL lose their mind.
Bro, they would.
Other than Steve Young from Montana, you don't get a Rodgers to Brett Favre. It just doesn't usually happen that way.
Yeah, no, it's completely unheard of. That would be the first time in the history of the National Football League that a team drafted, or obviously they didn't draft Brett, but they acquired back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks. That's and it's not a Peyton Manning coming in for the last 2 years of his career. They spent pretty much their entire starting career at one team. Bro, the media would absolutely lose their mind, and I am all for it. But as far as what you said about Jordan Love and people hating on Jordan Love, the dude has done nothing, and that's something else that Aaron Rodgers doesn't get credit for, is how he treated Jordan Love. Last year, this is what's funny. Last year during the preseason, Jordan Love struggled, right? I think he had 4 touchdowns and 4 picks? It was something like that. He had kind of a bad preseason. And Aaron Rodgers immediately came out in the media and said the receivers need to help Jordan. The receiver, he was basically pointing out the receivers are the aspect of this offense that's struggling right now, not Jordan. He was covering for Jordan. He was sticking up for Jordan Love. Because people were, and what did the media do? They completely flipped it and said, look at Aaron Rodgers calling his teammates out. And it's like, you conveniently didn't even mention that he was defending Jordan Love and just said, okay, he's a bad teammate and he's calling out the receivers, which cracked me up. So, as far as Jordan Love, though, he didn't do anything wrong, dude. I'll tell you this, though. He's had 3 years to sit behind a Hall of Famer. This is the only pro offense he's ever known. If it doesn't work out this year, if he doesn't show, hey, look, I can be the starting quarterback. He doesn't have to have MVP numbers. What I'm looking for, Jacob, you give me 20 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, and you show, hey, you've got a grab of this offense, then I think, okay, we've got something to work with. If he comes out and bombs, then, like we always say, it's not show friends, it's show business, right? We got to start looking for the next starting quarterback. That's the way it is.
Did you see what PFF's season simulator, the average of what they had him projected at?
Dude,
I know what mine said, and I don't know if I hope that I'm right or that mine was correct, but I had to be on the high end of that simulation because they had him throwing 36 touchdowns, 4,200 yards, 12 interceptions. They had Watson and Dobbs both over 1,000 yards. They had Jones over 1,000 yards rushing. Dillon at 800. That's, if I could pick my wildest dreams, that would be probably around there.
Yeah.
Realistic.
And that's what I've seen across the board. I haven't used the simulator yet.
It's in beta testing, so I'm sure that there's maybe some bugs that get kicked out of
you
there.
see me ask Ryan in the chat the other day when he posted, I'm like, man, it looks like those numbers are showing the Packers winning 10, 11, 12 games in most cases.
I was 13 and
yeah. So, it is what it is. It's a simulator, but hey, dude, give me those results. You kidding me, dude? I'd be all about it. Let's do this, man. Since we're talking about Jordan Love, I'm going to share the screen here, and I want you to hear something here. Now, Jacob, if you talk, obviously it's going to give you an echo while we get the audio shared. But I want everybody to hear this. This was Peter King in an interview talking about Jordan Love kind of being drafted and how everything was going. He also talked about talking to Brian Gutekunst as well. So let's hit it real quick, and I want you to guys hear what Peter King actually had to say, which is it's pretty cool, man. I like Peter King. He's been around the game for a very, very long time, but let's go ahead and give it a listen here.
One to get it. I think the reason, Mike, why people are a little down on Jordan Love after that Kansas City game. First of all, my recollection, the Packers only put up one touchdown in that game. It was 14-7, 13-7, something like that. And they lost the game. But I think why people would be down on him in that game is it was mostly a dink and dunk experience for Jordan Love. And in the NFL, you've got to be a little bit better than that. You've got to stretch the field, and he knows that. And I think he'll be much more ready to do that. I think the Jordan Love you saw in the game against Philadelphia with an excellent defense he was facing on the road, and I forget his numbers in the game, but he looked like an NFL quarterback. And when I watched that game, what I remember saying to myself is, I bet this really emboldens Brian Gutekunst and maybe even Matt LaFleur. But what it comes down to, honestly, whether you're emboldened, whether you're not, is having the trust and the faith that the Green Bay way of training quarterbacks. It's like Brian Gutekunst told me a couple of weeks ago. He said, we believe in a certain way. You draft a quarterback, you develop him, he sits for a while, and when he's ready to play, you play him. You don't wait. So, Mike, remember, you may not remember this, but it's really kind of emblazoned, in my head. I remember the weekend of the draft when Jordan Love was taken. And on Sunday, after the draft was over, I got Gutekunst on the phone, and I asked him, I said, man, I think your quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, still has some prime left. And what happens if Aaron Rodgers is really good and you never end up playing Jordan Love? If Aaron Rodgers keeps the job another 4, 5, 6 years, and he goes, if that happens, that'll be good for the Packers. And look, there's a lot of people who will say that the last 3 years overall have been okay for the Packers, but not great. I would dispute that. I would just simply say that your quarterback won 2 MVPs. Your quarterback led this team to 2 top seeds in the NFC, and I totally understand that they did not play well in either of the final games at Lambeau Field, that, either against Tampa, the year that Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl, or against San Francisco, last season. And I get it. So everybody is disappointed, and we're ready to move on from Aaron Rodgers. I do not think it's a bad idea to move on from Aaron Rodgers, especially with the deal that Brian Gutekunst got, because he got an excellent deal for Aaron Rodgers based on the guy who's entering his age 40 season. But what I am saying is that although I definitely think it was the right decision to make, and it was the right deal to make, to swap out Aaron Rodgers in favor of Jordan Love, that guarantees nothing. And though the history says, hey, after some struggles with Brett Favre, you had a Hall of Fame quarterback. After some struggles with Aaron Rodgers in 2008, you had a Hall of Fame quarterback. I have no idea what Jordan Love is going to be. Neither do you. Neither does Brian Gutekunst. You can have confidence, but that is one of the great mysteries. Mike, you know what? One of the 5 great stories of this NFL season, no matter what happens, can Jordan Love walk, chew gum, and play quarterback at a high level at the same time?
And that's basically what we were just talking about, right? I don't know, man. Peter King, in that conversation he had with Goody, it kind of takes you into the mindset of Goody and what we've talked about all along. When Goody drafted Jordan Love, it was, hey, look, this may be Aaron's last year. He might play for the next 3 years. And what did he say? Well, what if Aaron Rodgers comes out and plays as good as he ever has? Goody's response was, well, that's great for the Green Bay Packers, right?
That's true.
So, I was on board with the Jordan Love pick at the time. Of course, I wasn't a part of this network when that happened, so there's no receipts to pull there. Obviously, I wasn't even on Twitter, but I thought it was a good move from a fan standpoint, Jacob. When they drafted Jordan Love, I looked at it like the worst thing that could possibly happen, and we experienced it 1 or 2 seasons there. If Aaron Rodgers goes down, the season's over. right?
That's right.
But
Yeah.
when they drafted Jordan Love in the first round, my mindset went to, God forbid 12 gets hurt, but if he does, we get to see what this young quarterback can do. Is this Brett Favre stepping in for Dom, Mikowski, right?
Yep.
Is this him stepping in for Magic Man? Is this Aaron Rodgers stepping in for Brett down in Dallas on that Thursday night or that Sunday night, whatever it was? I don't know, man. It makes the season a little more enjoyable knowing you got a little bit of insurance there and at least something to root for and see if it's going to work out. But I think, you hear Peter King say, man, he got a haul for Aaron Rodgers in that trade, he being Goody. It's hard to argue with that. So I think it turned out about as good as it could.
Yeah.
So Tyler in the chat says, Tyler, appreciate you hanging out with us, buddy. He said, I think we're due for a lot of 12 personnel and play action along with more post-snap RPOs. I completely agree, man. The thing, what he means by post-snap RPOs too there, Jacob, is Aaron a lot of times last year, and Dusty talked about this on Chalk Talk segments when Dusty Evely came on the show. Aaron made his mind up at the line. He would see the box count. He would see, how the defense was lining up pre-snap, and he knew right out of the gate, this is where I'm going with my RPO. What he's talking about is post-snap RPO, not having your mind made up before the ball is snapped.
Right.
I think you will see more of that. I think you'll definitely see more of 12 personnel. The other thing too, Jacob, I was doing the Chalk Talk today for Jaden Reed, and that dude comes from an offense that is built just like Matt LaFleur's 12 personnel offense. Like they had the same tight end SIF look. We had the pre-snap motion. We had a lot of Z jets, everything.
Well, we did, if you guys remember, we did obviously our almost hour and a half podcast yesterday. And then after we ended the stream, Clayton's like, all right, man, just sit here with me for about 5-6 more minutes while I show you Jaden Reed highlights. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And then we almost wanted to keep going after we saw that. It got us all jacked up. So, I mean, like, I'm thrilled. I'm just thrilled, dude. Like, it's, again, I keep saying it's just so unique. In my adult and even child life, I don't remember having a season where we go into an upcoming season where we're just like, we have 11, 12 skill positions on offense where they're under 25 years old, where they could be absolute superstars. I haven't given up on DeGuara. I haven't given up on Samori Toure. You know what I'm saying? Let alone the guys that we just got this new crop in, Dontavian Wicks. The more that I hear about him, the more I read about him, the more I'm like, this might be another guy that we got to account for. Even the guy that we just got from Hammond that I talked about yesterday. While we're talking about wide receivers and why we should have maybe some high hopes, me being a fantasy football guy, I was listening to a podcast recently and it made my jaw drop when I think the topic of the podcast was year 2 wide receivers that are going to break out. And it got 3/4 through the podcast before somebody mentioned Christian Watson. And I don't remember exactly which guy it was. I should know that. Anyways, I'll give you credit if I can remember. I think it maybe been Debro from like Fantasy Pros guys. Good podcast if you ever listen to them. He said that through weeks 10 to 18 for the Green Bay Packers, when Christian Watson had a game where he had 80% or more of the snaps, which was 6 of those 8 games, he accounted for 23% of the targets on just offense overall, which is amazing. For a wide receiver, that's wide receiver 1 plus 5%. And then he has accounted for 42% of the end zone targets. That's unbelievable. You would draft that in the first round for fantasy football just based on those numbers alone. And then this was even more impressive. He had a 3.07 yards per route run average. That's up there with the top of the top. I mean, for that, in that span from weeks, in those 6 games, he was in the top 3 of all wide receivers in the NFL. So,
heck yeah, dude. Hey,
and that's with Aaron Rodgers, who, if you guys remember, and I'm not trying to hit on Rodgers, when he dropped that pass, and I'll say this again, I love Mama Watson and Christian Watson. I could go back and change one thing, just one thing. I swear on everything holy that if Watson catches that pass, the whole trajectory of the Packers season completely different. And I'm not saying that I'm hating on him at all in any way. And he knows that was a big, that I think that will end up making him become a better player because of that adversity initially. Mm-hmm. But you cannot tell me with a straight face that Aaron Rodgers did not put that dude in the doghouse for a good 6 to 10 weeks because it did take until about week 10 where he finally started being able to chuck him the ball again. That's my opinion, and whatever. So I'm just saying now to have Watson with Love, where they're not only practicing on the field, they're getting to know each other. They're becoming best friends. They're taking pictures while they're drunk, passed out together, man. That's how you build friendships. That's how guys get together and build friendships.
Mhm.
I'm excited, dude. It has all the, and plus real quick, the Jones and Dillon aspect for fantasy guys. We don't know what we could be walking into. We could be walking into maybe the best rushing offense that the Green Bay Packers have had in the last 20 years. Who knows? Because if that's what LaFleur wants to go on, because honestly, right now, if you look at who do we know we have, where do we know that we have the talent at, the proven talent, running back. We don't know for sure if we have it at tight end. We don't really know if we have it at wide receiver, obviously. And then the offensive line, we kind of have a lot of confidence in that they can do a lot of pass blocking, but maybe this is the year where they put it together and we're a run first offense and a dominant run offense. It'd be great. Think about it. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and something else that kind of came into factor with that whole, Aaron Rodgers to Christian Watson thing, Christian battled injuries after that week, because that was week 1 against the Vikings, right? Am I thinking
Yes,
right?
sir. Yep.
So he ended up, I think he missed the Tampa game, and, you get taken out of rotation, you're practicing with other receivers. Naturally, you're going to look for those guys that you're building chemistry with. Ironically, seeing that you didn't go to OTAs, it's just hilarious how everything comes full circle. So there was a lot of factors that went in, but yeah, that drop, man, that drop bothered no one more than it bothered Christian Watson. I guarantee you that. Right?
Sure.
But
Maybe his mother probably.
I think you're spot on, bro. If he catches that ball, we're looking at a whole different season. And it sounds so silly, but man,
I'd bet my life on it. I really would.
Yeah, it was something else. But man, that's the beautiful thing about pro football. Like, it's a game of inches,
Mm-hmm.
And he dropped that pass by a freaking inch. And
or when he dropped it and he went, oh my God. Like
yeah.
he didn't drop it. He just mentally gapped for a minute. He didn't drop it. He just,
absolutely.
We've seen he can. Anyways.
Yeah. Tyler in the chat said a lot of wham block and sift blocks. Love the zone scheme run, but they're very effective at those power run plays as well. That's the thing that's really, really, I got a question last offseason, Tyler and Jacob here. I got a question last offseason where someone said, what do you think is one thing that's not talked about enough in this Matt LaFleur offense? And my answer was the RPO. Very few people in mainstream media, when it comes to sports media, are they going, the RPO game, the RPO game. They just treat it like it's just this, it's just the way they play offense. Right. They were so RPO heavy. And then lo and behold, we get beyond, Aaron breaks his thumb and we get into the middle of the season. The accuracy starts to take the dip. You could see Aaron was making mental errors, whether it was he knew he couldn't put what he needed to on the ball, whatever it may be. That RPO game disappeared. And it's like we leaned on that for way too long. I want to see us get away from the RPO game a little bit. And what Tyler's talking about with the whams, the sifts, the zone scheme, they even ran duo. Duo is a very, very fun concept as well. You had power, you had the inside zone, you had outside zone, and you had duo. That's a lot of stress you're putting on defensive fronts, especially when you're running outside zone. And one of the plays I highlighted today, Jacob, on the Chalk Talk with Jaden Reed, was they were even showing play action zone right looks, and it looked just like Green Bay's wide zone play action game. And that's something that he's going to be very familiar with. I'm excited to see what he can do, man. Also, Tyler in the chat says Aaron Jones expanding his route tree this offseason. He said running wide receiver drills. I love that. That's what I expected last year. And it frustrated the heck out of me, dude, because I was expecting them to use him as more of a wide receiver. Now, the way that they did it, Jacob, they would come out in the pony package and then flex him out wide. And there was time they come out in the pony package and they put Dillon out wide. And it's going, what are we doing? Like, maximize the personnel, get to the line quick. And that's what frustrates Aaron at time. The famous soundbite of Aaron going to the sideline and saying to Matt LaFleur. What's that?
No, I was thinking of the snap and ball, Josh. That's the one I was thinking.
But there was another one too where he hollered at Matt LaFleur on the sideline, and he said, "Matt, can we please get one effing play without motion?" Like he's trying to get to the line quick and take advantage of the personnel, which cracks me up because everybody will tell you Aaron Rodgers wasn't running Matt LaFleur's offense. However, he's mad at Matt LaFleur for having to run his offense. It just cracks me up. But anyway, I'm so glad that that's behind us, because that was a constant talking point last year, where this is Aaron Rodgers' offense. It ain't Matt LaFleur's. We're going to see Matt LaFleur's offense this year. I've looked at the numbers. I've looked at the tape. I've watched every play 3 times from last season. And I'm telling you right now, what we saw last season was Matt LaFleur's offense. What we saw in 2019, 2020, and 2021, it started off with a hybrid Mike McCarthy, Matt LaFleur offense. And as you got later into closer to 2022, it slowly evolves into, okay, this is Matt LaFleur style offense. However, they leaned a lot more on RPO because they had Devontae Adams and they had Aaron Rodgers' quick release. I think you're going to get away from that and do exactly what Dusty Evely suggested they'll probably do, which is you're going to see them attack the middle of the field more and use play action sets, real quick drops, get the ball out quick over the middle. I think you're going to see a lot of that, a little less attacking the boundary. But that was good stuff on that Christian Watson stat, man.
Did you, real quick, did you see in a lot of the OTA, Love was very specifically practicing a really unique quarterback drop back that was specifically an RPO, I have to imagine, because it was the very weird, that whole thing, you know what I'm saying, where it was the false step back, the almost elongated, overpronounced quarterback handoff, and then the step back and run. So it was like, and they were drilling that pretty hard, it seemed like. So I don't know if we're going to get away from it. It seems like. I'll tell
you what I would like to see is them to implement a little bit of Philadelphia and what
like Hurts style.
Now, when people hear that, what do you immediately think? Hurts running that quarterback sneak underneath center and putting himself in harm's way.
I was like,
no, Jordan Love is not Jalen Hurts.
No.
But what I mean by that is what we call the RPR game, right? RPO, people get these mixed up. I'm going to explain it real quick. If there's one person out there right now that doesn't understand this and we explain it, I think it'll be worth it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So you got the read option, right? The read option took over when Kaepernick was in San Francisco and you had all these mobile quarterbacks. They would run the read option. A read option is where the quarterback in the shotgun has a sidecar running back, right, to his left or his right. Snaps the ball. He reads the defensive end. If the defensive end, he's going to put the ball in the belly of the running back. If the defensive end crashes on the running back, he pulls the ball and takes the edge. If the defensive end goes upright, he strafes, then he's going to keep the ball, or he's going to hand the ball off to the running back. That is called a read option. Now you have RPOs. What an RPO is, ironically, one of the very first versions of the RPO Brett Favre ran in Green Bay when Doug Peterson was his backup quarterback. That's where Doug Peterson got it from. He learned it from Brett Favre as his backup. He took it to Philly. They went and won a Super Bowl. This is what the RPO is. It's a run-pass option. You come to the line, and a running play is called, okay? The offensive linemen know to listen for an alert so they don't get called for ineligible downfield. But also there's certain plays, lookies, smokes, things like that it doesn't even matter what the offensive line do, because in a zone scheme, you're basically blocking. If you're going zone right, you're moving in unison together, and a running back's looking for a cutback, okay? So with the RPO, the ball is snapped. The quarterback may be reading the wheel backer, the weak side backer, right? And let's say he's got a running back on his right, okay? So the ball is snapped. Quarterback's going to read that backer. If that backer is biting on the run, then he may flick it out and hit a quick lookie, right? Bang, he's got, you've seen it to Lazard last year against Detroit late in the game. Dallas. And I think it might have even been overtime to set up the game winner. He did it to Lazard. All game long, they handed that ball off. And finally, the backer bit, Aaron pulls it out, quick flick, hits the lookie. Lazard's downfield, set him up for the game-winning play. That's an RPO, run-pass option. What's that?
Is that similar to what Rodgers used to kind of do, where he almost used to do that just quick dump off to Tay, where Tay would just take a step back off the line of scrimmage, where like if you could almost mimic that throw, but instead you could throw it off, or you could hand it off earlier if that was your first read kind of thing?
There was a lot of freedom when Tay was here, man. A lot of freedom. There was some times that Aaron Rodgers said, I didn't even know Tay was going to do it. He was saying on the McAfee show, I didn't know Tay was going to run that. But Tay has, and he said it, Tay has the freedom to run whatever route he wants to at any point. And he and Aaron were just kind of going on the fly. But, yeah, that's a good example. Now, what's an RPR? And this is what I'd like to see them implement. An RPR, it's not a read option. It's not a run-pass option. It's a run-pass-run option. So the way that works, imagine you come to the line, Jacob. Imagine the same RPO look, right? You're going to snap the ball. If the backer bites, you can throw the ball. That's the, run pass option. You can hand it off to the running back, but you can also, if the play is designed to pull it out of the belly of the running back, now you're rolling out to look for another pass, but you have the option to run as well. So with the fresh legs that Jordan Love has, and you see the athleticism already in OTAs, I'm excited to see him scramble a little bit more than Aaron did here later in the years, because that was one of Aaron's secret weapons, man, and he really got away from it,
Yeah,
which
he did.
I'm 40 years old, bro. It's different walking to the mailbox now, man. My driveway is about 250 feet.
Dude,
And
I'm
telling
30.
you, I'm winded, bro,
36.
walking to the mailbox.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so I think I would like to see a little bit of RPR action, but you're right. The RPOs are still going to be a big part of this offense. They would be stupid to pull away from it. Look at what Jacksonville did last year. Doug Peterson goes to Jacksonville, and all of a sudden, Trevor Lawrence looks like the top prospect that everybody said he was, right?
Yeah,
and they
that's
go to
true.
the playoffs. So, dude, everything's cyclical. It's a copycat league. You got to stay one step ahead. And you guys know Matt LaFleur didn't go to the draft. And if you remember why he said he didn't go to the draft, he said, we're better served to stay right here at home, right here in Green Bay, and work on this scheme and get an upper hand. So he's got anybody who has said that Matt LaFleur is overrated and, Aaron Rodgers is the only reason he's won. If there's anybody at 1265 Lombardi Avenue that has a chip on their shoulder this year, it's Matt LaFleur.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you're going to get the best version of Matt LaFleur this year, and I think we're gonna know pretty quick. We're going to know probably the first quarter of the season whether he's going to sink or swim. So yeah.
I mean, obviously, we can't compare it to the amount of Super Bowls that we've been won, but this is kind of that Belichick without Brady scenario for Matt LaFleur. You know what I mean? Because all the haters have always said, well, it's only because you got Rodgers. Well, let's see. Now we're getting a guy that everybody hates. So if we can somehow pull out even 10 wins. For that scenario, I consider that a 13-win season for what they're, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For
I'm telling you right now, to me, 6 wins. If you win 6 wins, LaFleur's safe. There's a big turnover on this roster. There's a lot of you talked about the young weapons.
Yeah.
If you win more than 7 games, that's a good year. If you come out with 10 wins, Matt LaFleur is going to be in the running for probably Coach of the Year, because that was the only thing that kept him from winning Coach of the Year. Was everybody said it was because of Aaron Rodgers, right?
That's true.
So
yeah.
I'm excited to see how it unfolds, man. And Tyler, we agree with you, man. A lot of boot action concepts, I'm sure. Absolutely, man. This running game's got an opportunity to have the best year they've ever had, with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones together. And A.J. Dillon's got more reason than any to want to have a great year, seeing that it's a contract year for him. And that's a question I don't even want to think about right now, man. This offseason, it's going to be a decision to be made. You're either going to move forward with him as your running back one, or you're going to let him test the market and then see if you can get him cheaper. But if you're going after him right now, you're going to get a 20% discount just re-signing the guy. That's typically the going rate for re-signing a player.
I feel like they should almost do that. The guy's already said that he wants to spend his life here. I mean,
yeah. If there's anybody who's willing to give you a discount, it's A.J. Dillon. He loves it, dude. He loves Wisconsin. Yeah. It's just, have we learned our lesson yet, with spending all that money on running backs? That's the tough part. Aaron Jones is worth every dime he's getting paid.
I was going to say, I still think that Aaron Jones.
Yeah. But if it's just going to be something him as a running back, the reason he's getting paid a lot of money is because he is an excellent receiver as well. There's no one who can run that wheel route better than him. There's no one who can flex out at the running back position. He's definitely in the top 5 of receiving running backs.
I really don't understand who he gets. He really doesn't get any love for that. When I listen to all my fantasy, nobody talks about Aaron Jones' receiving ability. Right. They just talk about the fact that he splits time with Dillon, and that's all they give him,
And that's where it comes down to. That's what makes Aaron Jones worth top dollar. A.J. Dillon, that's not his game. So you can't pay him the same money that you pay in Aaron Jones. It's going to suck if they let him test free agency and he leaves. But I hope he gives them a good discount. But then again, if you listen to my pod the other day talking about why Devontae Adams left, man, you got to be careful with that lowballing people, because Tay told him, like, bro, they came in south of that 20% discount. They came in south of 20 mil, and he was like, I'm done, dude. You guys want to see it one more year? I'm out of here. That's the price you pay to play the game of business in the NFL. So it's tough to see some of your favorite players leave, but one thing's for sure, that G's never going to change. And we got the best freaking fan base in all of sports, dude. We'll be here. If it's a 3-win season, we'll be right there on that ship with you. Jacob will be playing the violin just like those guys on the Titanic. We'll be going down with the boat, baby.
I'll be
So is there anything
stealing the
else you wanna hit on
silverware.
before we get out of here, man?
No, not really. Just again, everybody enjoy your Memorial Day. Just don't forget what it's about. It's great to see the young and upcoming team. Let's just get behind them. Stay positive. What was the lady's name that the nice lady that let us share her Twitter?
Oh, Emily Mack. Yeah, go give her a follow.
Let's be
man.
positive, man. Be like her. Just look for the good. What does Clayton always say? Be the change you want to see in the world. I think that's the greatest thing that you could do this weekend and pretty much any day. So let's go Pack, go, man. I'm excited.
It's a tough thing to do in this crazy world, that's for sure.
Yeah,
But,
it is.
don't let people divide you. Don't let people divide you as a fan base, man. Lift each other up, dude. We're only here for a short time. I guarantee you, when you draw on that last breath, you're not going to be sitting on your deathbed going, I wish I would have insulted one more person. You're probably going to be thinking the opposite. That's just the way it is. So
Yeah.
appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. Hope y'all have an awesome day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world and go Pack, go.
For Jordan Love.
37. Here he is throwing in the middle. It's caught by Watson. He's got great speed. Turning the corner. Christian Watson down the sideline. And he will score. Whoa. Hang on. Love to Watson. To a one-score game.
This one is the stunner. You basically feel like, all right, this Eagles team sort of has this thing under control, and then Christian Watson hits the Jets again. 6 touchdowns now in the last 3 games. He is really something. When he gets in the open field and running, that was some throw by Jordan Love, too.